Wait, there's no remote? What kind of peasant podcast is this?
We don't have a fucking podcast person. Bullshit is this?
Hey, Carlos. Wait, we don't have a Carlos.
Where the fuck is Carlos?
All right, welcome to Booked and Broken with your host, Diego Weiner, Alfredo Rubio, where we tell you a little bit about Miami, what's going on, and we might have a few plugins about our corresponding businesses as a criminal defense lawyer, as a personal injury lawyer. So this week I want to talk about, let's start with this Rip thing. First of all, sick movie. I watched it. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and supporting cast, man. I thought it was awesome. Although a bit, I think, unrealistic from the sense of, if you're in Miami, yes, I'm sure there's corruption. Yes, I'm sure there's drugs, there's drug dealing, there's trafficking. These officers from South Florida, their personal stories, I guess, were told, and that this movie had a incredibly negative impact on their life, their reputation, defamation, etc. What do you think, man? You think it holds water?
I mean, it's kind of interesting. As I'm sure you're aware, defamation suits are still tough to prove, right? Because you have to prove they got to parties, that it really ruined your reputation or your business or whatever it is that you're alleging. And I mean, biggest of all, people may not realize it's got to be someone not forming an opinion on something, right? Because opinions aren't defamation. It's just, hey, it's my opinion. But in this instance, it's kind of interesting from what I saw. They're suing them because they believe that they used too much likeness, right? Like, yeah, they didn't use their names and stuff, but the story is true. It's from a drug bust. I mean, I'm sure you are aware of this back in like 2016, I think it was.
Something like that.
$22 million drug bust. And so they didn't use the same names, but they didn't use enough, let's call it creative freedom, where people still tie these two officers that are suing them to being the two officers in the movie and painting them as corrupt.
Yeah,
I find it interesting.
I'll tell you. So I think I read at least part of the description on the news articles related to the lawsuit that there is a disclaimer. And I'll tell you, I watched the movie, but I watched it maybe, I don't know, like a couple months ago or a month ago, something like that. And it had a disclaimer, as most movies have, that, hey, this is not a real story. It's based on true events, but loosely, et cetera, et cetera. And you always wonder, how far removed it has to be because, all these writers, all these actors, you got to get the story from somewhere, right? And you try to, embellish it, make it more exciting, but at least I've read that they try to keep it as close to the story as possible. So the question becomes, did they keep it too close to the story? Did they use too much of the specifics? And I guess what those officers would be entitled to, because I mean, listen, if now all your buddies, your coworkers are looking at you like, on one end, either they believe you're corrupt, or on the other end, you're diming everybody out. And I mean, I've heard about the thin blue line, and, we see it as lawyers, at least, not always to the benefit of people because, they protect each other, but just seeing it from the pure perspective of a police officer. Do you want to be known as the guy that dimes out your fellow coworkers or someone that can't be trusted?
Do you want to be seen, the other, extreme of the spectrum as a corrupt officer? So now no one can trust
Definitely
you
not.
Anywhere,
Don't be corrupt.
So, and like you were saying, how much harm does it cause to their reputation? That's a big factor, but also their career, right? So if now the higher ups think that, hey, were these guys corrupt? Is internal affairs going to investigate them, or are they going to be benched or slowed down in that increase in position? But I think I read an article where even a prosecutor approached these guys and were like, hey, are you guys corrupt based on the movie? So it was kind of an interesting fact.
Really?
A prosecutor tied it up. Now, I read it somewhere, and obviously I wasn't there to hear this guy allegedly say this, but if that's true and someone in your life, and you're an officer, you deal with prosecutors and defense attorneys all the time, if one of them walked up to you and said, hey, are you guys corrupt or something of that nature, maybe it was a little too much of a likeness.
And I'll tell you, I mean, I remember watching the movie, and in the movie, they do the right thing, right? The actors do the right thing. The whole thing is, corruption loses, the officers win. It's at least in that ilk that you'd imagine, like, well, how bad could your reputation be harmed if the end of the movie, like, you do the right thing, above all, odds, you basically run and gun your way through a bad situation, put your life on the line, all to not be corrupt. But I guess they definitely didn't feel that it portrayed them fairly. They definitely felt that they were on the in the crosshairs, and I think that'd be pretty wild. No, if they didn't use your name, they didn't use your likeness, but at the same token, you're having coworkers come up to you and be like, hey,
Yeah.
Hey, I saw that. You gave
I
up
saw
X
that.
amount of millions of dollars.
Right.
Really?
Exactly, and that's where it kind of comes into play, and that little tidbit, right? So with defamation suits, it's all about did it really go to a third party and did it cause harm? And
Mhm.
if you do have a coworker that walked up to you randomly and said, "Hey, I
Mm.
saw this movie. Are you really this way?" Maybe it
Hey,
does
you
cause some
corrupt
harm.
piece of shit.
Maybe you are corrupt.
Yeah.
I don't trust this guy anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's a big harm.
Yeah, and I think especially when we're talking about police officers, I know that these guys work hard, they put their life on the line. You're talking about a lengthy career. You're talking about pensions potentially on the line. You're talking about that's all of that's in place. So I can see it from their perspective. Now the interesting part will be one whether the lawsuit makes it all the way to a trial. As we know, I think what is it like 90% of cases settle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the civil
cases.
statistics
Yeah,
are.
I think it's like 95 or 90.
Something tells me a big Hollywood production like the one that's been sued here will likely
Right.
not want to have this aired out and have that out there. So, it's as you know, and I think as we've talked about a couple times, it's a long way from the filing of a lawsuit to a trial.
Right. And is it going to hold muster, right? So is it even going to get past the summary judgment stage?
Exactly.
Not illegal.
Something tells me
aspect
that
of it.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have one of the best legal teams in the country.
I
if
feel
not
like
the
they
world.
might have some pretty good guys. Unfortunately, I'm not on it, so not the best. But
Mhm.
no, I mean,
I like
obviously
it.
some
I
good
like
guys. But it's definitely interesting out there. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm creating this for a movie or for a song or anything of that nature, and therefore it's not, true. But
Mhm.
are you still getting sued for it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think at least from an artistic perspective, I'd imagine I've never written a book or anything like that, but you'd wonder, hey, like you're using by allowing lawsuits like this, are you curtailing that that ability to go out and make stuff when you're giving it the disclaimer that hey, this is not specifically based on any officer, it's not an event. But on the other token, hey, if you're using somebody's source material, the least and especially if you're doing harm, forget if you're making a financial benefit, which obviously they are.
Of
I mean,
course,
this is
obviously.
a major blockbuster on Netflix. But either one, you got to pay them because you're using that source material, which I'm sure there's some kind of agreement to that end. But also, if you're specifically hurting officers that maybe didn't even get paid per the agreement, I don't know enough about it, but it's pretty interesting, I think. So we'll see how it shapes out.
And these types of things happened a lot. I mean, what is it? Kendrick Lamar, I think the label that he used got sued by Drake for that song. He came out. I don't know if you knew this. So he did.
Oh yeah, that was a great. I just remember the Super Bowl show.
Yeah, I mean the whole Super Bowl show. It's crazy. And then, so I believe Drake sued the label, not Kendrick Lamar himself, but the label for promoting the song. And I don't know if you know this part, but federal court actually dismissed it, stating that the song was forming an opinion. It's on appeal last time I checked, but it is one of those
interesting.
things that
I had no idea.
Yeah, so that's why I say these defamation lawsuits aren't clear, even though something is said. It, like you were saying, is how much likeness is there if the disclaimer is there up front, and if it's an opinion, all of that really takes into effect in these cases, which is kind of interesting.
Well, I think we'll kind of see how it pans out because, as we know, ain't no such thing as getting a quick resolution in civil court. Although I will tell you, in federal district court, it moves quicker, I think, than in some other, other forums. Let's call it.
Well, and then at that point in time, if they're starting about messing with the likelihood, is the city of Hialeah going to get mad at them how they're portraying the city of Hialeah?
That's true. I saw that. I think the new mayor had quite an opinion about the RIP.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, on some Instagram or some podcast, some local podcast.
Yeah, so it opens up a bunch of doors, right? So, and Hialeah is its own world, man. And I don't know how much you go out there.
I can't say I do like some of the restaurants that we were talking about with La Viña Aragon. Great restaurant. Love that. If you're looking for a hole in the wall, that is one of the best Cuban restaurants I've ever been to. And I'm not Cuban, I'm Mexican American, but I will say I like it.
I mean, dude, if we're gonna switch over to that topic, the Cuban food in Miami is out of control. In Hialeah in particular, everybody knows. La Viña Aragon is a little hidden hole in the wall, if you will, but it's cash only. It's the most known hole in the wall because everybody goes out there.
I remember we went in, and I remember we walk in. Of course, there's a sign on the front door that says,
"It was this."
Literally, granted, maybe it was a little lower, but whatever.
Handle.
Point is, you walk in, and I think we're eating, and I go, "Oh shit, I don't have any cash." Luckily, Alfredo had cash.
Oh, no, that was the best. So we're just
Yeah.
sitting there, this is great.
One of us have money.
Does anybody have cash here? I'll
I
bet
swear, IOUs, right?
dude, so I posted a video, so
Yeah.
the best Cuban foods in Miami, or my favorite spots at least,
Mhm.
all in opinion based. And man, some of the comments.
What, that was opinion? I
Yeah.
thought we were talking facts.
I mean, for me, it's facts. So some it's an opinion, but man, the comments out there were
oh yeah,
hilarious.
so some people really take their
So-
Miami Cuban food seriously, and I respect that. I
mean,
love that.
I take it seriously, but obviously, the best thing about posting some of the content that comes down to Miami food, like the croquetas, the Cuban sandwiches, the meals, the everything, brother, like croqueta preparada, la sándwich cubano, el pan con lechon, like all of these amazing things, is the comments will either agree with you. Tons of people agree with me, thank you.
Yeah.
Or they
Some.
will strongly
Yeah.
disagree with you.
Some stripped you to the core, man. Jesus.
But I got to be honest, though, I'm quite happy they did that, because for the best Cuban food in Miami, I got a free list of some
Like it.
places I had never even heard about.
Which, by the way, we have to hit up.
I did hit one up.
All right, which
I hit
one?
up.
What's,
So
what's
so
the
my
next
girlfriend
one?
is the Juanita, and we
Start a little bit of a war on the
yeah. So I hit up Molina's.
Molina. I don't
Molina's in Hialeah. It's a popular place. I mean, I got a ton of comments about Molina's, so I hit up Molina's. And as soon as you walk in, it's like I'm gonna call it a fancy Cuban spot. It was very, very nice. The guys are all dressed up in button down t-shirts.
I like it.
But I had la masa de porco.
Okay.
With a little bit of like con gris and baba, dude.
Yeah, I'm Jewish, so I only cheat every now and then.
I know. I know you don't eat
Maybe
this
the
stuff.
Cuban sandwich that I give into.
With an egg. I know
With-
you like
with
to
an
mix
egg.
it with your
A
politics.
caballo, no?
Al caballo. Yeah, Cuban sandwich al caballo. Jesus. But
The looks I get when I order my Cuban sandwich with a couple like eggs on it,
Oh
you
my
would think I
God.
was ordering, some like extraterrestrial
you
food.
created like the ultimate sin apparently to some people. Some of them give you the egg on the side, like you put it yourself. We're not doing that. When I did so that place was good, and then I did my list of Cuban sandwiches. We're talking about sandwiches.
Yeah,
And friquetas.
yeah.
Because,
I've been there. That
I
place
mean,
is amazing.
We've hit that place up a few times,
Yeah.
but they do cubano, right?
Mhm.
So we know cubano is. For those who don't know, it's just a sandwich with ham, pork, cheese, Swiss cheese, mustard, and pickles.
If you don't know, find out.
Yeah,
I don't care. If you're a fellow Jew, if you're a member of the tribe, doesn't matter. It's delicious.
I mean, you got to do it at least once, but that's the way a cubano is. And then you have the croqueta preparada, which is essentially, I'm going to say almost the same thing, except in my traditional household, you take out the pork and you replace it with the croquetas. So you have the Swiss cheese, the ham.
a diet-friendly meal.
Extremely diet friendly, but you do it that way. And the reason I mentioned this is so you have the Swiss cheese, the ham, the pickles, the mustard, and croquetas, right? Now the Cuban sandwich does the roast pork instead. Now I said in my video that croquetas adds croquetas to the sandwich, and someone was pissed off, and they're like, "Dude, it's a croqueta preparada." Respectfully, it's not. Okay, it is fucking not. It is a hybrid. Now, if you want to call it a croqueta preparada with roast pork, I'll take that. Or you call it a Cuban sandwich with croquetas. That's all I'm saying. Is it's not in a traditional household, anyways.
Yeah.
But we gotta try them. If you guys find any Cuban restaurants in Miami, I am trying to try every single one. Calle Ocho, Hialeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami Springs has any. Miami-Dade has one.
Yo, careful, man. They're gonna come after you.
If Miami Springs has something, prove me wrong, but I haven't seen a good one yet.
I love that.
Miami Lakes does though, so we gotta.
Yeah, the lakes is an interesting spot because you kind of got like you're a little bit further out, I think. But what's your favorite spot in Miami Lakes?
Before I say that, the lakes, the difference between Miami Lakes and Hialeah is a freaking bridge. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah, I
highway.
know, but we both went to St. Thomas Law School here in Miami, and I will tell you that felt like like a marathon every time you're going out there. So like we'd
Well-
always stop in Miami Lakes on the way back.
Yeah.
So I always have seen it as like the shadow area.
It
where
is the
Mufasa
shadow
points
area,
out.
but I mean, when you're already
But it is
in the
nice.
lakes,
I'm not hating on the
no,
lakes.
super nice area, beautiful homes, beautiful everything. But if you're in the lakes and you cross the highway, you're now in Hialeah. So you're Hialeah part 2.
Part
but
2.
it's
Is it the
just-
better part of Hialeah? Come
No.
on, let's create some controversy here.
No,
No.
no. It's
And then you have Miami Gardens
Yeah,
right
I'll say
next
that,
door.
The, the high end, I guess, if you want to call it that. But no,
Yeah.
but yes, Cuban spots in there. You've got a Sergio's to go, which is like a mini Sergio's spot. That one's okay. But then down the street, you got a Casabana.
Yeah.
We've been to Casablanca or Los Sábado Cubano.
I got a bone to pick with Sergio's because I love Sergio's, but I go to the one on Coral Way, and it's like between the Gables and like Brickell, like right in the middle of Coral Way.
Exactly right.
And I love it. But man, and I got a bone to pick with the police officers because every time I go there, it's like my order, and I speak Spanish, I feel like I'm a local. I go there, I order my colada with no sugar because keep it healthy. And no matter what time I get there, doesn't matter if it's the weekend, the week, man, I'm waiting my 20 minutes, 30 minutes for my colada. And I'm guessing it's because all of the fine officers in Miami decide to go get their colada there, and I'm an afterthought.
I gotta be honest.
I got a bone to pick with Sergio's.
I've never had a problem there, but tienes que lucir con la cara cubano, no una cara americano. Although you're Mexican and you're all that, but man, you're too formal for them. That's what it is. Your Spanish is too perfect.
I get ignored. I get forgotten. I'm over here. I got you. You know what? When you got to remind the very sweet Cuban lady about your colada 20 minutes in, it ain't my spot.
It ain't your spot.
It ain't my spot.
Look, Sergio's.
I do like Cuban American original though. The Cao, CAO.
Yeah,
I go there daily in Coral Gables.
Now I got a question for you because that is kind of like a spinoff. Cao or Vicky's Bakery?
Cao for me, just because of ease of getting there. Vicky's. I mean, the problem with Vicky's Bakery is the what do you call it? The pastelitos. I can't avoid them. I can't go in there and not leave with like 15 of them. So Cao, I don't even go in. I come to the window, I get my colada, and then you go to Lifetime. And that's it.
So are you saying that Cao's pastelitos aren't good enough to entice you compared to Vicky's Bakery?
I think the build of Cao, the fact that you can go to the little the little window, I park right outside the window, get my coffee, and 5 minutes in and out.
If you're gonna go there, you gotta say it right. It's
I haven't.
la ventanita, not the window, la ventanita.
Okay. La ventanita. I do love la ventanita, but I will tell you, I've never gotten a pastelito of Cao.
Really?
I have not. But Vicky's Bakery, let's just say that we're old friends.
Oh my God. So all the bakers in Miami, and there's thousands of them. If you drive around, you'll find a bunch of them. But if you were to pick your favorite bakery, Cuban bakery in Miami that you've been to, what would it be?
I think the bakeries are tough, man, because the ones that are near me are like Cao or like Pinecrest Bakery.
Yeah.
Vicky's I like. There's one by FIU. For the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. It's like on 8th. It's not on 8th Street. It's it's a couple streets parallel to 8th Street. It opens at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's the only reason that I know it. But I've only been there twice. Unbelievable. I will find the name and I will come back.
It's not La Cine Rival, is it?
No, Sam, no me acuerdo.
La Cine Rival. So I'll be honest, La Cine Rival, I grew up right down the street from it. That's on 8th Street.
It's by your old spot. I know it's by there because my colleague Giselle lives in the area.
It's not on 8th Street and like 97th Avenue. I asked you because it's right next to a Goodwill.
No, because you know what? It's a perpendicular street on 8th Street.
Gotcha.
So it's like a few streets off.
We're gonna have to find this place.
I know, and it was really, really good. And I hate that I can't remember it. But pastelitos usually, because when you get them for the whole office or whatever it is, and it just happens to be the Vicky's Bakery.
The whole office, sure, I guess.
but Pinecrest Bakery, even though like if you get a prepared sandwich there, I do feel like you're waiting there for a minute.
Yeah.
The pastelitos are quick.
Yeah, they have
But you know where I had my favorite colada in Miami, and this might be a very controversial topic.
If you say Versailles, I'm
no.
Okay, all right, we're good.
Se llama La Palma.
Okay,
and it's bound like by the falls, like super south. It's like off to the side, and you know it's good when it like I don't know if it opens at like 5 or 6 a.m. But it's like real working people are there at like 6 a.m. I walk in, you sit at the little like at the bar.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Dude, you're getting me to want like not even a cafecito, which I want 24/7. So that
my 4 coladas a day.
Yeah, no, I have a whole freaking espresso machine I make every morning. So but now I want a freaking pastelito. What's your favorite?
All right. Oh my God, guava and cheese, easy.
Really?
That's maybe the easiest answer I've ever. Maybe, and also the coconut, el de coco, riquísimo.
I'm gonna be controversial here. De carne.
That's not doesn't count, dude.
Pastel de carne.
No, pastelito's dessert, man. Go have a croqueta. Que hueva.
Listen, I get the savory meat with the sweet crust on the outside. It's a win-win.
Yeah, no, guava and cheese, man. I don't think in Miami. Every time I leave Miami, right? You go on a vacation, you go on a trip, work trip, whatever it is. when I think to myself, and I've now lived in Miami, I think I'm 35, probably since I was 10 years old. So I'd say 25 years being in Miami. Granted, I didn't grow up in Little Havana. I didn't grow up in the hot spots, but what I will say, being a K-Town kid, I grew up in Kendall. The one thing or the two things I miss are a real colada, because no matter where you go in the country, in the world, it never hits the same.
No.
And a pastelito de guava y queso. I think that to me, like if you get up, like if I land in the airport in Miami, and I don't care if it's 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., if Versailles,
That's
at the airport,
that's the only time you're gonna see me at Versailles. I'm at the airport, either leaving or arriving.
I will get that. I will get that.
I look at Versailles and I go, bueno. It's better than nothing, and I need a colada before I leave, or the moment I get back, I need a cortadito.
But I will tell you, when you have friends from out of town and they want to get the Miami vibe, sure, you take them. You know where I took them? El Pub. Because I love that ventanita in El Pub.
That's my
blast.
That's my spot.
And I think when you and I met, I think one of the first few times we hung out, we went to El Pub at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I think they were closed, but your pops was playing the piano.
Yeah.
He belted out some rancheras. We had a great time there, man.
They had the whole kitchen closed, and they reopened it just to make us some croquetas and a cortadito, because we said we wanted it, and we got it. And that is, what's cool about it, pub, man. I don't know if you've noticed, every time you go, they've got images of like the different shows and the movies that they filmed there.
I remember Ballers had a scene in there.
War Dogs had a scene in there. Power had a couple scenes in there. And I basically grew up in that place. So is it the best Cuban food in Miami? I'm gonna be objective here and say, to me, it's not the best, but it's a good
Cuban sandwich, though.
It's got phenomenal sandwiches. The food is good. It's great food. I mean, I love that place, but to me, it's closer to home. So I'll choose that place all the time.
But you know what? I think so. There, I had a gentrification moment in Miami. I went to El Pub. I think my girlfriend Janelle had never been there, so we went.
Yeah.
At the little window, we're having our coffee, and you had like 4 food tours. You had I get it. We want to share Miami culture with everybody. Where I'm not about excluding anybody, but Calle Ocho's always been a place that has stayed Miami. Yeah. I always thought, like in Little Havana, like you go there because you're trying to avoid like the bullshit. You're trying to avoid the touristy shit. And I think every time I've gone now, man, it's just like you get like 15 walking tours, the hop on and off bus, and I'm glad that it's getting that kind of recognition. But I remember when I lived there, maybe even like 6 years ago, when I had that apartment on like 8th and 9th and 9th Avenue. I remember going down, and like you walk down, it was, you really felt like it was an escape from Brickell, from downtown.
Chain.
But it's a blast.
That's a blast.
I do love
it. That's okay. It was an escape, except Ball and Chain was a blast.
Yeah.
But you know what it is, and I'll be honest with you. I've seen the tours. I've seen the hop on, hop off. Personally, I get where you're coming from. You keep it Miami. You keep it old school. You keep it classy. But at the same time, these tours, these hop on, hop off buses, they're great for the businesses. One thing I can't stand about these tours, because some of them include a tasting at these restaurants. Right? So they'll have the bar.
You get behind the whole tour, getting coladas. Oh my God.
It's not even that I have a problem with. The problem is, of everybody in Miami, of the thousands of Cubans that live here, they pick La Maja Americana to tell them that this is a colada. And I'm sitting there going, there's no shot that there is a freaking person calling this a colada. On Calle Ocho.
Yeah, you need some better tours on Calle Ocho.
I feel like that should be something where keep that tour guide going, keep them doing their thing. They're doing a good job. But once you get to the place, get a local right there. Like at that one spot, just get an employee from the restaurant to explain it to you.
Yeah, I like it.
Keep the tour guide doing it.
And you know what? The worst part is they'll have the ultimate gringo on the fucking megaphone,
always
like speaking to his like 5 people on the tour. All right, this is a colada. No, brother. Así no se puede.
But I do like sitting at that bar when they do that and looking at the Cubano that's been sitting there for the past 50 years. He's looking at you going, whatever. He's like, whatever. And then you've got the people who walk into Domino Park not knowing the rule, which is, este juego lo inventó un mudo.
Yeah.
So when you walk into Domino Park, just shut the hell up.
I 100% agree. So I will tell, I remember when I first started living in that area, like 6 years ago or something like that, and I remember not, I wasn't born, I'm not of Cuban background. Dominoes are just not, I grew up playing poker or whatever it may be, no?
Right.
So I go to the Domino Park and, Exactly, right? You don't know the rules. So I walk in, I start talking to the viejito with the cigarro con el puro, and he pulls me, he's like, son, you want to talk? You're gonna have to bring us something to drink. Yeah. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. And I kid you not, I went to like a liquor store like down the block or something. I bought like a 12-pack. Couldn't have been more talkative, nicer, friendlier, but it's gonna cost you.
You gotta buy them at least a 12-pack with a colada to wash it down at the end, con un pastelito. And at that point in time, they'll tolerate the conversation because they got their eye off the hall.
And they taught me how to play.
There you go.
And I can't say I'm an expert, but I learned the real spot.
But what'd you learn? A beer will teach you dominoes at Domino Park.
Exactly. If you learn nothing else during this podcast, you learned what the areas are to eat, some good spots, and buy the Domino guys a few beers.
Of course, and we'll do a little bit of legal topic like we always do.
Another time. That's boring.
Well, that's what we started off with, but always about Miami, everything about Miami, the local spots, and just having a good time around here. Man.
And hit us up with some ideas, man. We love the controversy. You think, if you think Pinecrest Bakery is the best Cuban spot in town, let us know. We'll disagree, but let us know.
But you know what? If we haven't gone, we'll try. We'll film a little clip on there for you, and we'll let you know whether you're right or you're full of shit. We'll just do that one. But
thanks for joining us, guys. See you next time.
See you next time.